hate me, don't you?
Tune in to Kons podcast.
Collect the beats.
Afroman, you know what I mean? Afroman won his recent case. He was being sued for defamation after he made diss tracks about all the wrong stuff they was doing, caught on camera, and he used, and they try to argue for privacy when this is his footage, this is his house, this is the moon. We are planning to go to the moon, you know what I'm saying? That is finna be launched out, you know what I mean? That was happening. I mean, for what? What are we doing there? You know what I mean? What are we doing on the moon to where we need human presence on the moon 24/7? And then went out there to do, what's going on? What's happening? What's going on? This Kons podcast episode 372, you know what I mean? On this good Thursday, March 19th, you know what I'm saying? At 3:32 in the afternoon, you know what I mean? What's happening? You know what I'm saying? Hope all y'all is doing cool, you know what I mean? Hope y'all enjoyed yesterday's episode, you know what I'm saying? I'm back with another one today for you. Got a couple topics for you today, you know what I mean? In case this is your first time here, you know what I mean? This is where we go over the news, go over the headlines, go over whatever headline you might have seen, whatever that is going on currently, you know what I mean? Wherever you seen your headline at, whether you seen it on MSNBC News, CNBC News, Hip Hop DX, you know what I'm saying, Google News, Yahoo News, wherever it is that you get your headlines, you know what I mean? I'm probably covering on 1, 2, or 3 of them right here on Kons Podcast, you know what I'm saying? So keep it locked and let me keep you updated on this wicked world, you know what I mean? Tell a friend about it, tell a family member about it, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's Kons Podcast episode 372. Got a couple of topics for you, you know what I mean? We're going to touch on this Afroman situation. I don't know if y'all knew about that, you know what I mean? And we also want to touch on this Artemis, Project Artemis, is where we are going to the moon to do some research and have some human presence on the moon. But yeah, you know what I mean? That's everything we got to be touching on today. You know what I'm saying? Without further ado, without no more chit chat of banter, you know what I'm saying? We're going to jump right into these topics, you feel me? So Afroman, you know what I mean? Afroman won his recent case. It was being sued for defamation after he made diss tracks about police that wrongfully raided his house back in 2022 at his home in Ohio. He made a few diss tracks for each deputy that was on the case. Angela Yee on her show spoke on it a little bit.
Afroman won his lawsuit against the police, and that is because they raided his home back in 2022, found nothing, and he wanted to recoup some of the money from the damages of when they raided his home. But yes, after he won this lawsuit, and by the way, won unanimously, the plaintiffs, the police officers were trying to say that they were suffering damages from these songs and these videos because he did use real surveillance video footage in some of the music videos that he did. Here is what Afroman had to say after his win.
Yeah, we did it, America. Yeah, we did it. Freedom of speech. Right on. Power to the people.
So this is interesting because, Ray, as you know, a lot of people have been trying to use lyrics in court cases. Yes. And in this case, they decided this was all satire and freedom of speech prevailed.
Not going to work this time.
Yeah, it was parody. And as a public figure, he was allowed. They were trying to get $4 million in damages from him, by the way.
What?
Yeah. Just because they said they were traumatized from these songs and these false allegations and things like that.
Police are human too. Y'all gonna have to get laughed at in the hallways just like everybody else. I'm sorry.
But it would have set a different type of precedent if the police would have won. When it comes to lyrics, when it comes to satirical music.
Well, that's why I think it gets interesting when you say satirical, because he's saying it's a joke. Mm-hmm. You know, when you were rapping about like the other stuff you saying is real, that's when it gets a little like, I don't know, but like I'm glad that he won though, and freedom of speech is right. And plus, it was just a joke. Y'all kicked in my door, and it was a mistake. I made
and y'all didn't want to pay me for my door and the damages that you did. You found nothing, and that's how he actually fired back.
And we all did it, by the way. We did it. America,
yes,
we did it.
They said they wanted $4 million from Afroman. The funny part is, Deputy Randolph Walters was questioned about a line in this diss track where Afroman was insinuating that he had sex with the deputy's wife. It's a clip of Randolph being questioned.
Cheating on me with Mr. Foreman. It's caused
tremendous pain in my life.
I'll get to that. We have to go through false light first. So does it paint you in a false light?
Yes, that my wife is cheating on me with Mr. Foreman.
But we all know that's not true, correct?
I don't know. You want to go there?
No, I just want to ask that question because you said we don't know. I just
Been with that
want to
woman since middle school.
I know.
I would hope she wouldn't. But you know what? Once somebody puts it out there for their fun and entertainment.
Lisa Phillips was also another deputy that was involved in that illegal, wrongful raid on his house where they damaged property, kicked the door down, broke the gate, and all that. Lisa Phillips was also in there. He also made a diss track about her, saying that she was homosexual, had a sex change, and some more things along in the diss track. And mind you, the diss track is 13 minutes, and they played the whole thing in court. You know what I'm saying?
Lisa Phillips broke down in court as videos of Afroman mocking her were played before the jury, turning a disputed police raid into a bitter legal fight over humiliation, privacy, and defamation. Phillips is suing Afroman after he released multiple songs, videos, and social media posts that allegedly questioned her gender, mocked her appearance, and made repeated insinuations about her sexuality. During the hearing, her attorney played several of those clips in court, and Phillips reportedly began crying on the stand as the content was shown. The lawsuit stems from the 2022 raid on Afroman's home, when officers searched the property on suspicion of kidnapping and drug trafficking. No charges followed, but the raid itself became a major point of controversy. Afroman later claimed officers took cash, disconnected his cameras, and damaged parts of his property, including his gate and door. Instead of letting the incident die, he turned it into content. That is where this case shifts, because what may have started as a musician publicly mocking a police raid has now become a legal question of whether that mockery crossed into defamation and invasion of privacy. Afroman's supporters see it as retaliation against an overreaching raid. Phillips' lawsuit argues it became something much more personal and damaging. Now the court has to decide where protest ends and public humiliation begins.
After all that, you know what I mean? The judge had ruled no plaintiff, and the matter will be concluded with the defense. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a win for Afroman.
So the verdict forms are properly executed and properly completed. Copies will be made available to the parties. In all circumstances, the jury finds in favor of the defendant. No plaintiff verdict prevailed. So the matter will be concluded with defense verdicts. Thank you, Mr. Klingler. Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Thank you to the court staff and the Sheriff's Department for security in the building. And we'll go ahead and stand adjourned.
And then, of course, after he won, he definitely has some closing remarks. You know what I mean? He has some stuff to say, his little closing remarks outside the courtroom where he caught a few different cameramen and people with mics. You feel me? This is what he had to say afterwards.
Things happen. You do your best and make it good. When life give you lemons, you make lemon pound cake. No, I'm here. I'm home. If I go to a different area, I got to deal with a different police department kicking down my door, disconnecting my cameras and stealing my money. So my battle is won here. I think I'm gonna lay my head.
Where'd you get the suit from? I gotta ask.
It's custom made. You know what I'm saying? I am the American dream. You know what I'm saying? I believe in the rags to riches story. I believe in the Cinderella story. I believe in the American dream. Yeah, this suit stands for the freedom of speech and the American dream. Amen. Praise God. Everybody, just give me a big group hug. We gonna have a big 80-person hug. Oh yeah. We won. We did it. We did it, America. We did it, America. Free speech still lives in America. Yeah.
Here goes just a good clip summarizing up everything, you know what I mean, putting it all in a nutshell, you know what I mean. This is everything that was going on. This clip's from the court trial and all that, you know what I mean. Check this out.
White trash news. What in the white trash cops is happening here? The funniest troll of the Afroman trial happened, and very few people are talking about it. Watch this.
So you're solely being painted in a false light due to Mr. Walters saying he had sex with your wife.
Mr. Walters does have sex with his wife. Mr. Foreman doesn't.
Good catch on that.
Yeah.
So you're claiming that is the defamation statement, is that he said he had sex with your wife.
Yes.
Okay. And that's painted you in a false light.
It's caused tremendous pain in my life.
I'll get to that. We have to go through false light first. So does it paint you in a false light?
Yes, that my wife is cheating on me with Mr. Foreman.
But we all know that's not true, correct?
I don't know.
Wait, you don't know if your wife's cheating on you or not?
You want to go there?
No, I just want to ask that question because you said we don't know.
I've been with that woman since middle school.
I know.
I would hope she wouldn't. But you know what? Once somebody puts it out there for their fun and entertainment, it's out there. And it's a problem.
So it's something we cannot verify the truth of? Is it a thing that can be verified, true or false?
Ask your client.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask for a direct the witness to answer the question, yes or no, please.
You don't like his answer doesn't mean he didn't answer.
He didn't answer the question. He's told me to ask another person. That is not an answer to the question.
So ask him another question.
Okay.
That was his answer. You didn't like how it came out, but it was his answer. I can't make him say something else. You can ask him another question.
And so are you claiming that Mr. Foreman saying he had sex with your wife is a private fact about your life?
My family is a private part of my life.
About your wife?
Him having an affair with my wife would definitely be a private part of my life if that was occurring.
What you have is you have Afroman's lawyer who's questioning this cop, and this is a layup, guys. All he has to do is confirm, yeah, my wife never slept with Afroman, and that would at least be laying the grounds of, okay, this is false. He can't say it. So does he actually believe that they slept together? Because I'm pretty certain it's pretty obvious they didn't, but what this does point to is, who is she sleeping with then? This man is acting way too upset and way too sensitive about this, that this leads me to believe she is sleeping around and he knows it. And this is a point of contention, but let me tell you why this is so stupid. Because all he has to do is to say, this is untrue and is a provable fact. My wife is not sleeping around. And guys, he has lawyers. These lawyers have been training him for weeks and months going over. This is exactly what you say. This is why. He wasn't even trying to trip him up. He's just trying to literally lay the foundation, and he can't do it. He can't. How dumb do you have to be? But then again, guys, look, I back the blue when they are correct. And cops get very little training. We're talking they get weeks of training. Like, it's less than a cosmetology license by far. Some of these people are not the brightest bulbs. You're telling me with all of that training from your lawyer, you can't get that. Not to mention the judge. The judge is judges, guys, judges are terrible. They are so corrupt. Most of them are paid off. But luckily, this is a jury deciding, not a judge. So then the lawyer's like, he needs to answer yes or no. And the judge is saying, well, you just don't like the answer. No, that's typically how court goes. But here's the thing, guys. A lot of times, judges can do whatever they want. They have immunity most of the time. They can make up whatever rules they want, which is part of why the system is so absolutely corrupt. I absolutely love this. And he basically is making this guy admit in one way or another, yeah, my wife's cheating, and I'm upset with it. So you basically derailed the whole thing. Right there, you basically took away any case that you have and admitted to the world that your wife is probably cheating, and the judge admits that he's corrupt. Mwah! This was such a brilliant troll. I love this. Oh my god.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Afro Man, you know what I mean? Won this case. That's dope. You know what I mean? That's dope. And yeah, man, you gotta well, do that walk of shame. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he an artist. He made diss tracks about y'all. Y'all can't sue him for defamation for that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all should have kicked his dough in. Y'all should have took the money. He said y'all took about $400. You know what I'm saying? All the money wasn't there. You know what I mean? Y'all shouldn't have did all that. You know what I'm saying? And then tried to sue him for $4 million. You know what I mean? Try to make him pay for I guess his own property damages that they did. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. This is wild. And I don't think that, he should have made diss tracks about him. You know what I'm saying? He's an artist. You know what I mean? Just like he was saying, it's under freedom of speech. You know what I mean? Expression of an artist. You know what I'm saying? So expression under articulate, under whatever the little code is for that, to protect rappers and their lyrics and all that. You know what I mean? Kendrick used the same thing when Drake was taking him to court. You know what I'm saying? So tried to sue him and he won. You know what I mean? I was hype about this. I'm glad he won. I was happy to see him win that. You know what I mean? And that's in dead. Yeah, put him through the humiliation. Played a whole diss track in the court, played every diss track, had her crying, listening to it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, that's what I'm saying. Y'all got to get held accountable to the wrongful things y'all be doing as police sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes it takes humiliation. You know what I mean? Hopefully they learned the lesson from this. You feel me? They said they took a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, all the wrong stuff they was doing, caught on camera, and he used, then they try to argue for privacy when this is his footage. This is his house. This is cameras on his, you know what I'm saying, on his own little, that's his personal cameras in his house. So, hey, man, I don't know. You can't really sue for, you know what I'm saying? I don't think you can sue for defamation because he made some diss tracks about y'all. You know what I mean? Y'all deserve them diss tracks. If I was an artist or a rapper or something, I'd have made some diss tracks about y'all too. Each and every one of y'all, just like he did. You know what I'm saying? For sure. But shout out to Afro Man for that victory, though. You know what I mean? Definitely. You know what I'm saying? Laughing in their face, made them look dumb. What I like to see, though. You know what I mean? So the moon. We are planning to go to the moon. You know what I'm saying? That is finna be launched out. You know what I mean? That was having a bunch of problems. We plan to build some type of structure on the moon, according to NASA, with Project Artemis 2, which is in formation and moving forward as they're going to launch a team of astronauts to the moon to build a base on it, move for technology and research, and later Artemis missions. They plan to test deep space life support systems to establish a permanent human presence on the moon, they say, is how they're going to keep them. Then they worked a lot on the capsule or whatever they're going to be flying out there, and they worked a lot on that, put a lot of safety measures to that. This is a quick little clip on how they're going to keep the astronauts safe on their way to the moon. Check it out.
Eruptions from the sun can release more energy than 1 billion hydrogen bombs, and astronauts are about to head straight into this harsh domain. During NASA's Artemis 2 mission, astronauts will leave Earth's protective magnetic field to travel around the moon. Out there, they'll be exposed to some of the harshest elements in space, including swarms of energetic particles from huge solar eruptions speeding across the solar system. If astronauts aren't prepared, these particles could put them at increased risk of developing cancers and other health problems. So during their 10-day journey, NASA and NOAA are monitoring the sun 24/7 with spacecraft across the solar system. By tracking the direction and strength of eruptions in real time, scientists can see if energetic particles from the sun will cross paths with the astronauts, exposing them to radiation. Radiation exposure is measured inside the Orion spacecraft with sensors, and each astronaut also wears a personal radiation tracker. So what happens if a solar storm strikes? If radiation levels become dangerous, astronauts take shelter. They reconfigure the cabin by stacking equipment and materials around the spacecraft to add extra shielding. The more mass they have between themselves and the incoming particles, the better protected they are. As astronauts travel into deep space for the first time in more than 50 years, we'll be watching the sun to keep them safe.
So that's a safety video. That's how they're going to keep them all safe. You know what I'm saying? Building all the little extra plates and all that, as you've seen in that video. But then they ran into some previous issues and moved some dates around.
So the Artemis rocket rollout date has moved again. But don't worry, it's probably the opposite of what you're thinking. So what's going on? NASA was targeting March 19th to roll SLS back to the launch pad. The rocket has been inside the VAB since last month after its first attempt at launching was met with some issues that required maintenance back inside the hangar. NASA resolved all that but ran into one extra hiccup yesterday as they were buttoning everything back up and delayed rollout to March 20th. Well, it seems like engineers at the Kennedy Space Center did not like the way that made them look, so they wrapped up the needed repairs faster than expected and forced NASA to reverse course. Now we are back on for March 19th. NASA is targeting around 8 p.m. Eastern Time for first motion Thursday for an overnight rollout of SLS from the VAB back to Launch Complex 39B, leaving NASA just under 2 weeks to prep the rocket and ground systems for the beginning of its next launch window opening April 1st. The 4-mile journey tomorrow will take about 12 hours from start to finish, and Space.com will be covering every step of the way, so follow along.
So here is some more information on Project Artemis 2. You know what I'm saying? The whole project, this is dude gonna break it all down, and also
bring a lot of people together in DC to talk about a handful of major initiatives. We're going to go into greater specifics on Artemis acceleration and what that looks like past Artemis 5. If you're building a moon base and you're going there to stay, well, you're gonna need lots of missions to and from the moon, from a crew perspective, from a logistics perspective. So there's going to be an Artemis acceleration discussion. We're going to talk about the moon base. I want landers on the moon in the South Pole on a monthly cadence starting in the beginning of 2027. There's a lot to build out there. We got comms, navigation, we've got power. We're going to start doing some like surface improvement demonstrations. We're going to have rovers everywhere. So there's a lot to talk about on that. We're going to talk about nuclear power propulsion. We're going to talk about more missions of science and discovery. So there's a lot of good coming up. And then we have just lots of workforce directives and initiatives that are coming out. That is going to be based on all the information gathering that's been taking place, that continues to take place, the thousands of submissions from the workforce, from industry of how does NASA do better. And it's like, you can't do all those fun, exciting things we want to build a moon base if you don't address all these very real concerns and problems that come up from the workforce where, whether it's policy, regulation, things that are just impeding progress, you have to clear it out and unleash them. So we'll talk about those too. This is all in works right now. Like nobody's waiting, months or years to hear about it. It's weeks.
But you got to patch the cracks in the foundation before you build something.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to do both. Like and frankly, that's what the taxpayers should expect of us with the $25 billion a year we get. That's like for the space-loving community around the world should have very high expectations for NASA. We can work on all those exciting things and fix some of those cracks, as you mentioned, at the same time.
That was Project Artemis, you know what I mean? How he was breaking it all down. That's everything they plan on doing, you know what I'm saying? And also, this is just a news clip. I guess one of the astronauts is Canadian, and this is somebody who else was Canadian who was happy to see another Canadian on the astronaut as it leaves. Check it out. This is a news coverage on it. Artemis 2, the moon.
We have a new date for the launch of the mission that will take the first Canadian astronaut around the moon.
We are on track for a launch as early as April 1st, and we are working toward that date.
The agency looked at the degree of risk but agreed it is all systems go for the launch. Officials say there's still some work that needs to be done once the rocket is on the launch pad. The rollout will begin on March 19th, with the window for takeoff now set between April 1st and April 6th.
I am hugely excited. I've been dreaming about this since I was a little kid growing up in Canada, and to see a Canadian, nobody from any country in the world has ever gone to the moon except Americans. And so this is a huge deal, and a guy that I know very well going to be on that rocket ship taking a huge risk. But yeah, hugely excited.
You know what I'm saying? This is Artemis 2 going to the moon. Had a few little complications there, but that seemed to be all ironed out. Be launching to the moon. You know what I mean? I don't know if we ever been to the moon before. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of speculation, a whole lot of conspiracy going on about if we ever been to the moon at all. Do I believe personally that we've been to the moon? I don't really think so. You know what I mean? I think it's enough tech and enough movie set tech to make us appear and look like we've been to the moon, but I don't think we personally have been to the moon. You know what I'm saying? Why we be going back? You feel me? I think this is our first time. If this is finna be real, let's say it is real, I think this will be our first time there. You know what I mean? And then what else is it? Bragging rights? You heard them say, you know what I mean? Nobody has ever done this. You know what I'm saying? We're the only ones who's done it. So what is it? Bragging rights? And why are we trying to build a base on the moon? Well, I don't understand. Why do we need human presence on the moon? I mean, I just don't understand. I don't get it. You know what I mean? For what? What are we doing there? You know what I mean? What are we doing on the moon to where we need human presence on the moon 24/7? And then went out there to do research of what did it say? What are we doing research on? Life support systems. You know what I'm saying? Building life support systems. That's just like what we were doing with Mars, trying to go out there and build life support systems on a whole nother planet. What is this? Is just nothing but sound like a chessboard to take over to me. You know what I mean? I guess the Earth is not enough, and they want Mars and the Moon now. You know what I'm saying? So that we can call it government property, I guess. Ownage of the United States, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean? But hey, if they gonna really do that, more power to them. You know what I'm saying? But we don't know. You know what I mean? It's too much tech out here that's going on. Too much stuff they can make things look like what it ain't. So I don't know. Even back then, that footage is old, and I think that definitely was some footage, some set somewhere that they made it to look like that we went to the moon. But I don't personally think that we ever been there. You know what I mean? If this is going to fully go through, I think this is the first time in history that this is going to happen. If this is going to happen, you know what I'm saying? But that's what I feel about it. You know what I mean? But that's all I got for today, though. You know what I mean? A couple of topics. You know what I'm saying? For episode 370. Yeah, what's happening? You feel me? I'm here to interrupt this episode to let you know, you know what I'm saying, to hit that subscribe button if you ain't already. You know what I mean? Hit the like button if you liking this content. You know what I'm saying? Comment on what you want to say on this content. You know what I'm saying? If you got something to say, if you remember something, if you heard about something that I'm talking about, let me know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, let me know, and hit that subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? And tell your friends to hit that subscribe button. You feel me? Spread the word. Feel free to share all this content on your social medias, whatever platform it is that you got. You know what I mean? Thank you for tuning in. Let's get back to the episode. Usually this is where we go over the recap of what I just let you know. You know what I'm saying? In case you might have pulled up or rolled up and got a little too up, you know what I'm saying? The tree was too loud for you, you know what I mean? You got a little too high, or you pulled up, the drink was a little too potent, or you heard your kids upstairs arguing over who turn it was, playing Minecraft or playing Roblox or something, and you didn't know what was going on. They started body slamming each other. You had to go intervene and see what was happening. You stepped away from the episode. This is everything that you might have missed that I just let you know, you know what I mean? So just let you know about this Afroman situation and him winning that case, tried to sue him for defamation as he made a diss track about every deputy that raided his house wrongfully back in 2022. You know what I mean? Also let you know about we planning to go to the moon for research on life support systems. Same thing we were doing on Mars. You know what I mean? Artemis 2 is the project, and we are planning for launch April 1st. You know what I mean? That's everything I went over. You know what I'm saying? For episode 372. It's Kons podcast. You know what I mean? Hope you share this out, and hope you like this episode. Hit the like button if you did. You know what I mean? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, because we all know you could have been doing anything you wanted to do, no matter who you was. You know what I mean? Whether you was a little brother, little sister, whether you was a niece, a nephew, an auntie, an uncle, whether you was a grandpa, a grandma, a mother, a father. You know what I'm saying? You could be cousin Pookie, cousin Man, and if you got pets sitting there right along with you, and your pet is a cat, you have a pet dog, or you have a pet gerbil, you could have a pet bearded dragon, a pet lizard, a pet crocodile, you have a pet hyena, a pet hedgehog, whoever your pet is, you feel me? If you petting them watching this episode, I definitely give you that good salute, like you see that emoji scrolling up that screen, you know what I mean? But thank all y'all for tuning in, thank all y'all for watching. The beat you hear creeping up was made by Infectious, a beat collector beats, you know what I mean? Thank you for tuning in, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for these last little bit of comments that I will have on these last topics, on these couple topics that we just went over. You know what I mean? Be sure to leave me a comment and definitely share this out. You know what I mean? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I'll see y'all on the next one.
Wait me, don't you? Wait me, don't you? Wait me, don't you? Wait me, don't you? Don't you?